This is a small business in Nigeria. And this is the small business owner, Lateef Adigoke. I paid Lateef a visit to his tailor shop in Tinubu Square in Lagos Island to understand some of the problems that someone like him faces in running a business.
So many challenges there. So challenge to get customer, to get what is not easy. I'm praying to grow more like this, to have a factory, so to have more boys, more workers.
The process for custom clothing, very manual, very labor-intensive, and very prone to error. But what you have is a situation where customers really have unprecedented power.
And that's E.B. Cookie, the CEO of Fitted. He's trying to help tailors like Lateef better operate and grow their businesses.
There's the style, there's the fabric, and there's the measurements. Anything can go wrong, very wrong, in any of these three places at any point in time.
But to help Lateef grow his business means solving multiple problems across the value chain. And this is representative of a lot of sectors across the African continent, which ultimately limits the potential for scale of the businesses in these markets. So for Jobtech platforms to be successful in Africa, they have to solve many more problems than comparable platforms in, say, the global north. And in doing so, these platforms are creating better outcomes for their users. In our prior two episodes of this series on Jobtech platforms and the future of work, we argued first that the future of work is a portfolio of work, and second, that it will be bootstrapped. In this episode, we need to dive deeper into the value chain to understand how growth happens for both platforms and their users. In exploring that question, I'm reminded of a conversation from our prior season on the future of work.
The traditional Western job tech models of large-scale job matching, which is providing a technology layer that connects supply to demand, is very difficult to replicate on the African continent, where the problem is not just information asymmetry, but many, many different layers.
That's Chris McClay, the program director of the Jobtech Alliance and formerly the COO of the home services platform Link, based in Nairobi.
You're often dealing with a skills deficit. You're dealing with a lack of access to assets or financing. You're dealing with all sorts of infrastructure, from high-cost transportation to get to gigs to, lack of digital connectivity. Platforms tend to need to do a lot more in order to be successful.
One sector that's a representative example of this multi-layered challenge is fashion.
So you have the complication around getting the measurements, storing those measurements. There's logistics of getting the fabrics. And then lastly, but the logistics piece of how the actual outfit gets fulfilled can be one of the biggest challenges for them.
E.B. is the founder and CEO of Fitted, a platform providing software tools for tailors and connecting tailors to demand in Nigeria. Considering the uniqueness of the fashion value chain and the needs of tailors in particular, it's a vertical platform tailor-made for tailors.
For us over here, probably half of the people's wardrobes is custom, and they are an important part of even our social engagement. Weddings, funerals, milestone birthdays, milestone events usually herald something called ashwebi, which is like a fabric that people say, if you're representing me at this event, make an outfit with this. And it's culturally embedded, it's really deeply baked in.
There is the cultural element to made-to-order fashion in Nigeria, but there is also a pragmatic economic element as well.
This is also one of the problems that the ecosystem has, which is capital. So what you have is a case where tailors and brands try not to keep inventory. A lot of people and brands don't have the money to sync 100 styles and say, hey, this is what I can do. So people tend to do made to order.
Tailors, like many other entrepreneurs, have to do so much more than just make clothes in order for their businesses to grow. This is where Fitted is trying to help.
It's the first thing that we built with the Tailor app. You can create measurements, store measurements, send them to customers, requests from customers. For tailors, this gives, for many people, the first online repository for their customer measurement information that they'll never lose.
The idea is that with improved operational efficiency comes higher revenues and margins.
When you look at how they track their businesses, it's very unlikely that you'll find a tailor who knows what his alteration rate is. It's very unlikely you'll find a tailor who knows what their first-time fit rate is, which is out of the last 10 products that they did, how many fit the first time and how many didn't. On average, tailors are 3 times more likely to get an outfit that fits the first time when they sew with Fitted. And just the reason for that is you have a single place to store your measurements, a single place to see style, a single place to see fabric. For these businesses who aren't very operationally efficient, anybody who can introduce some lots of efficiency to them will actually help them get better ROI for their own time.
So the operational challenges are one layer being addressed by Fitted, which then enables them to address other layers of the value chain, like demand.
We started a new business line in July, August, where we started servicing fashion brands. Now we have over 10 fashion brands that we're working with, and they are also off-taking production from us. Becoming a vetted tailor means that you now become a brand that we can push orders to. And then with our operational procedures and tools, we sit in the middle to make sure we vet and guarantee quality. And in pushing orders, typically on the tailors who make outfits with us, they make about 3 times higher net margin.
Fitted is aggregating supply with the help of technology to more efficiently scale up production. And they're doing it in a way that contributes to the tailor's portfolio and diversification of revenue. In the case of Latif in Tinubu Square, around 35 to 45% of his weekly production comes from fitted.
So what that's done is it's also given tailors a completely new revenue stream, whereas before they were doing one-off pieces, so we might give you 10 orders in a week, but they'll be for all different measurements. Now they're getting 10 block orders, which is the same, produce this in a medium 10 times for this fashion brand.
So here's the upshot for Jobtech platforms. In an environment of demand constraints, building enabling infrastructure can unlock growth opportunities for their users. This is what makes Jobtech platforms successful. Not only generating demand for their users, but in solving problems across the value chain, unlocking additional revenue streams for platforms to achieve greater profitability. But this is also what makes Jobtech platforms so hard to build in Africa. Having to solve so many problems is expensive and complex, but with potential upside from an income generation perspective for users. And for SMEs in particular, this is what platform-induced growth is going to look like.
I think one of the most heartwarming stories for me, at least, is the story of one of our vetted tailors, Sikiru. It was just him. Now he's got about 9 staff. He's a vetted tailor, so we push orders to him. We pushed millions of naira to him, but I cannot say that it's the millions of naira we gave him that helped him expand his business. I told you about the operational processes that he got from us in terms of protocols, what kind of stuff you check, having somebody who's just for QA on measurements, checking and finishing. All these things helped him grow his business. So for us, it's really how do you provide tools across the value chain of this service for tailors so that they can go from being small to being large on your platform.
For more on this topic, check out the Future of Work podcast series we published last year, which we'll link to in the show notes, and check out the work that the Jobtech Alliance is doing at jobtechalliance.com. And one more thing, if you enjoy The Flip and want to support the content that we create, please hit that subscribe button. It only takes a second, but it will mean a lot to us if you do.